So welcome to the movie order, and this is my review for Captain Marvel, with some potential spoilers. So I went into this film with moderate expectations, just like I do with most movies, but I came out feeling very indifferent. It feels like there were sparks throughout the movie. I, for one, liked Annette Bening in some of the battle sequences, along with Sam Jackson, who provides a lot of the comedic relief and just the genuine, solid acting going on. But it feels like these are a series of scenes from her life that are really disjointed. The overall flow of the movie, because they're trying to get her backstory and the Kree War. Now, I love movies that usually change their genre, a bit into the film because it sort of undercuts your expectations of what you thought the film would be. This film feels like it's about 10 different genres, and 10 different directors got to direct different portions of the film. There's no overall cohesive style and narrative thread to link them other than Captain Marvel. The only thing I really truly hate or dislike about this film is that the Tesseract is being used again just because they can use it, because by the end of the film it's backed with Nick Fury, so it's okay if they just take it for a bit just to use it. I mean, it's cool that they're using it to power their ship, but it just feels like another MacGuffin to have another Infinity Stone in the film. A lot of this film is just planting seeds and setting up hints for future movies, such as the very end where it turns out that Carol Danvers' nickname was Avenger, so it became the Avengers Initiative instead of the Protector Initiative. And the fact that early on, it turns out that one of the Coulsons that was in the car with Nick Fury was actually a Skrull, and the real Coulson was elsewhere. So it starts setting up the precedent that anyone could be a Skrull, or that small little things will lead to bigger things, which I get you're trying to be universe, but eventually it becomes too interconnected that, kind of like Ant-Man and the Wasp, which played it safe, this movie plays it safe. It can't do anything too far out there because then it changes the overall narrative, especially when it's set in the 90s. And as a 90s kid, I love the references in there, and I get a lot of them. But I also think that when you play that up too much just for a montage, then you kind of forget it. It's one of those things where it feels disjointed because you figured it would be a nostalgic thing that they kind of keep running with. And a lot of this is setting her up for Avengers Endgame, but part of me feels like maybe it would have been better off if she was introduced in there and then had her own movie, kind of like how Black Panther and Spider-Man had their films. Because as of this film, I don't really feel that Brie Larson captures Captain Marvel. And I'm not the biggest fan of Captain Marvel, to be honest. I prefer Miss Marvel. I think that she's a much more interesting character. And I get that Captain Marvel is supposed to be this ultimate badass. And she has some very badass moments in this film. But the moments where she's not being a badass full of CGI, I feel like it's very lackluster. And the way they tried infusing humor into the film, it just didn't vibe well enough with me. But I am happy with some things, such as Coulson being back. I'm really happy that he made his way back into the films, and I'm hoping that this was some sort of deal, so some characters can make their way back into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but that's me being more hopeful. But I do think that Coulson is a really good character, and it's nice seeing him and Nick Fury work together. I was kind of sad though, because a lot of these characters, Monica Rambeau, Jude Law's character, Coulson, and Annette Bening, they weren't in the film as much as I had thought they would be, and I understand that they're minor characters, but the trailers seemed to hype up Monica Rambeau and Jude Law's character, Yon-Rogg, enough in the film. I thought they would be in the film more. It seemed like a waste because they're phenomenal actors and actresses, and I would just had hope that they would add more to make this more of an ensemble piece. Even Star Force, who she works with, is barely in there, and it seems like they're setting up some of the characters to be bigger, because we know that Horath becomes bigger in Guardians of the Galaxy, and they seem to be setting up Gemma Chan's character as something but strictly be just for those moments, and then really nothing else. They're not as fleshed out as I think they could have been, with a bit more on the runtime perhaps. But for me, the film is simply average. It's not the best, and it's not the worst of the Marvel films, but I'm worried that when this film comes to the MCU, that it will be forgettable, which I think is a lot worse than being bad. It's kind of like how Ant-Man and the Wasp was forgettable, but if I have to rate it, I would give it a 5 out of 10. I do think the score, Goose, Samuel Jackson, and a lot of the smaller character moments work really well, but the overall just didn't really work for me. But let me know what you think when you see the movie down below.